Matt P says, please thank him for all he does. I would love to hear some practical tips for modesty in dress for men and women in the world today.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you don't hear about, modesty for men. That nobody talks about it. Because, part of that's we've reduced modesty to clothing. Mm-hmm. And if modesty is only clothing, then, well, I mean, we have pants on. I mean, we're good today. I got a shirt on. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
I think we've made a mistake of reducing modesty to only clothing. What about the modesty of my intentions? What about the modesty of my speech? What about the modesty of the way that I'm dressing or, dancing? It's a much broader concept. And so I think women typically, if you wanted to incentivize a woman to be more modest, I think the first thing we need to do for the women is really enter into why do women have an anaphylactic reaction to the modesty? You just bring it up, and a lot of times it's just whoa, you don't want to go there. And I think, well, why is there that allergic reaction to the topic of modesty for many women? And I think there's really, really good reasons that have to be affirmed. I mean, the first of which is that for thousands of years, the whole problem of lust has been blamed on the woman. Well, you're the adulteress, you're the seductress, you're the occasion of sin. You were the woman caught in adultery. I mean, you were wearing that outfit. You were kind of asking for it. I mean, that mentality has been pervasive through thousands of years of culture. The woman caught in adultery, where's the guy? He's not around. She's the one getting stoned. So because this idea that the woman's body is the trigger of lust, well, that's the problem. But what I look at is what's the cause of robbery? Is the cause of robbery the presence of jewelry in the window of the store or the presence of greed in the heart of the robber? Greed causes robbery. Jewelry does not.
It's appropriate to display jewelry. It's not appropriate to display cleavage or the womb.
No, this is, but we have to understand the body is not the cause, the actual cause of the lust. The cause is the human heart, because there's plenty of cleavage in St. Peter's Square. There's St. Peter's Basilica. Yeah. I mean, the very icon of chastity in St. Peter's is a bare-breasted woman. That's the image of chastity in St. Peter's Square. Yeah. She's displaying her body parts. But there's an ethos John Paul talked about of the artist. He has a responsibility in how he portrays the body. And then there's also a responsibility of the person viewing the art. And both of them have to work in tandem to look at the body reverently. And so I think what we need to help women understand, it's not to say, oh, well, then you can just dress however you want. Right. No, we don't want to do that. But we also don't want to say the body is the cause of lust, because that's false. The human heart is the cause of lust. And if I can externalize the blame to the body of the woman, I'm free, because the outfit is what caused the whole issue. It's there's a deeper wound that needs to be healed here, because I need to try to arrive at a place of Christianity that if I see a woman dressed immodestly, instead of just lusting after her, I could have a sexual reaction of wow, that's beautiful. But now what do I do with that reaction? Can I just stop for a second and say, God, thank you for making her beautiful. And I pray for her, and I'm responding to the beauty of the body with love, instead of thinking that her body forced me to lust. I have no freedom of will. It makes me a slave of my instincts. It robs me of my own dignity if somebody can cause me, strictly speaking, to sin. I still have to have my agency. And so I could see somebody immodest, be tempted to sin, but use your self-will to say, hey, look, that woman's worth a lot more than her body parts. And so God bless her, and I pray for her, and you try to move on. And obviously that's a continual battle. But I think step one for the women, help them to understand it isn't right to just blame women for men's lust. Men need to take their part in this whole thing. The second thing I think women need to hear is it isn't fair how often women get the modesty message and guys get kind of off the hook. And because you never hear homilies of male modesty. And the reason for that is, like I said, we reduced it to clothing. And if modesty is clothing, I wouldn't even know what to wear if I wanted to be immodest. I mean, if I wanted to seduce someone, what am I going to put on a cowboy hat or fireman? Yeah, look at that. I mean, people are laughing. I mean, that's how hopeless the cause is. And so because we just made the mistake of thinking it's clothing, and then we just think, oh, that's the girl's domain over there. Yeah. And so we've got to say, okay, well, maybe it means different things. Maybe girls could be triggered by male immodesty if he's walking around the gym with his shirt off, or, he's wearing super, tight suit. I've had girls say, when guys are wearing super tight suits, sometimes, that's a real temptation for me. But we've got to realize, we got to drop this mentality, well, am I my brother's keeper? He has a problem of lust. That's his own problem. I don't need to worry about that. It's well, yeah, let's work together to kind of build a civilization of love. John Paul talked about modesty is a gate of making a way for love. And so it's not because your body is bad. It's because your body's so wonderful that sometimes the sexual value will eclipse the personal value. And so what we're trying to do is put the personal value in front of the sexual value. And so modesty is just trying to right order those values.
Yeah, that's good. I was reading Thomas Aquinas the other day, who said that an immodestly dressed woman is like one who digs a hole and then covers it up to trap a man.
Oh.
So I think we'd want to affirm that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, also make, right? And it sounds like you're doing that. Like you're saying both have a part here.
Yeah.
We can't offload the blame to the woman.
Yeah, but not that Aquinas wasn't a bright guy, because I think he had a couple insights along the way. Women mostly aren't doing this to get a guy to fall. They frankly they're not interested in what a guy thinks. She's dressing for herself or for the other girls.
No, fair enough.
Not for the guys.
Fair enough.
But there's an act of omission there that I should have been thinking of this person.
Yeah.
But I don't think we can ascribe a malicious intent of like, I want to wear this to make guys to lust. Like they don't think like that. That's not on the radar.
Okay.
I mean, men like when men dress, and like let's say we showed up at the studio this morning wearing the same thing, like, oh, we're twinsies. But like if girls show up at a party wearing the same thing, it's just like a stare down. You know, it's like, oh, she looks better than I do. Yeah, it's a competitive thing. So when women dress, it's more often for other girls or for themselves, not for the guys.
Yeah, fair
That's
enough.
why we need to invite her. Look, I'm not saying you're dressing that way to make him lust, but I'm just saying, just so you know, he might have some weaknesses in that area, and it would be an expression of love,
right,
to maybe opt for the more modest outfit.
You are your brother's keeper,
Yeah.
and we are our sister's keeper.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for watching that clip. Would you like this beautiful, very high quality, definitely not made in China, not that there's anything wrong with that, Pints with Aquinas beer stein for free, sent to your door? Would you also like a copy of The Jill sent to your door 4 times a year? This is the Pints with Aquinas newspaper, by the way. If you do, go to mattfradd.locals.com and become an annual supporter for any amount. We'll send you that stuff for free, and you get a bunch of other free things in return. You'll get more information by going over to mattfradd.locals.com. Thanks.